The first raindrop smacked the ground like a warning shot, pow, followed by another, then dozens more, hammering rooftops and pavement like a relentless drum roll from the heavens. Thunder growled in the distance, snarling like some angry beast ready to pounce, while the sky morphed into this eerie, ghostly gray that sent chills down my spine. Inside my cozy house, I was sprawled on my porch, sipping a frosty beer, man. That first sip always hits just right. Watching the storm barrel in like a freight train, a sly smirk tugged at my lip. Oh yeah, because I knew exactly what was coming. I'd seen this neighborhood's sorry excuse for a drainage system choke and sputter before, and whose house was parked right at the lowest, most vulnerable spot on the block. Karen's! Can you believe it? And here's the kicker, she just towed away the only truck around here tough enough to haul emergency sandbags. What was she thinking? A jagged bolt of lightning ripped across the sky zap, followed by a thunderclap so loud it rattled my bones. The wind kicked up hard, howling as it shook the street signs and bent the trees like they were bowing to the storm's fury. Neighbors scrambled outside in a frenzy, chairs flying, garage doors slamming, rushing to batten down the hatches. But none of them, not a single one, were in as deep a mess as Karen Dorsey. I pictured her in that pristine, over-the-top house of hers, sipping her fancy, overpriced wine, probably some $50 bottle she bragged about at her book club, completely clueless that she'd just made the dumbest move of her life. Oh, Karen, how's that wine tasting now? Just 3 hours ago, my truck was chilling in my driveway, minding its own damn business like the loyal beast it was. Sure, it's old rust spots and all, but it's tough as nails, reliable as the sunrise, and absolutely essential for my work. I'm a contractor, for crying out loud. Without that truck, how am I supposed to haul lumber, drag my tools around, or even make a living? But did Karen care about that? Nope, not one bit. All she cared about was her precious neighborhood aesthetic. To her, my truck was an eyesore, a blight on her perfect little world of white picket fences and shiny SUVs that never saw a speck of dirt. So what did she do? She called the tow company, bam, had them yank it right out of my driveway, and left me high and dry like it was nothing. I wasn't about to let that slide. Oh no. I stormed over to her house, fists clenched, and pounded on her door so hard that ridiculous decorative wreath of hers, probably some overpriced craft store nonsense, nearly crashed to the ground. When she opened up, there it was, that smug, infuriating smile plastered across her face, the kind that makes your blood boil and your head throb. "It's just the rules, Jake," she said, crossing her arms like she was the queen of the cul-de-sac. "If we let one person break them, then where do we draw the line?" "Oh, I don't know, Karen. How about drawing the line at screwing over a working man for no damn reason?" She just shrugged, cool as a cucumber, totally unfazed. "You'll thank me when property values go up," she chirped, like that was supposed to make it all okay. I stared at her, jaw dropped, fighting the urge to laugh right in her face. "Can you imagine the nerve? You have no idea what you just did," I warned her, voice low and sharp. "Oh, I think I do," she shot back, her tone so condescending it could have made a saint lose it. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an HOA meeting to prepare for." And with that slam, she shut the door in my face. Unbelievable. Now, here I was, leaning back against my porch railing, taking another slow, satisfying sip of my beer as the rain pounded down harder, pooling in the gutters like a ticking time bomb. Did I have to lift a finger? Nope. Nature was about to take care of this all by itself. Sweet, sweet justice. It started slow, almost teasingly. The water crept over the sidewalks, sneaky and silent, then flowed down the sloped street, gathering in Karen's pristine, perfectly manicured front lawn. Oh, how she must have loved that grass. The drain at the end of her driveway, clogged to hell with leaves, of course. Where else was the water supposed to go? Straight toward her house. That's where. I waited, counting down in my head 5, 4, 3, and boom, right on cue, the inevitable hit. Karen burst out her front door like a deer caught in headlights, her face twisting from, oh, this might be bad to full on. Holy crap, I'm screwed. Panic. She darted around like a mad woman. Where was she even going? Her fancy yoga pants soaking through as she splashed in ankle-deep water. She vanished inside for a second, then popped back out with what, seriously, a couple of measly towels. She started shoving them against her garage door, like that was gonna stop a flood. I nearly choked on my beer, laughing so hard I could barely breathe. Oh, Karen, you've got to be kidding me. Another lightning flash lit up the street crack, and there she was, yanking out her phone, dialing like her life depended on it. She paced in frantic circles, one hand on her hip, yelling over the storm's roar, I need sandbags. Yes, right now. What do you mean you don't deliver in this weather? Oh, poor Karen, did you really think they'd brave this mess for you? She spun around, eyes wild, probably realizing she was totally out of options. How's that HOA power working for you now, huh? That's when it hit her like a ton of bricks. Her head snapped toward me, our eyes locking, and for the first time ever, I saw something in Karen Dorsey I never thought possible. Desperation. Me. I just smiled, cool and calm, letting it sink in. She froze, hesitating like she couldn't bear to face what came next, but then another wave of water crashed over her front steps, splash, and her precious pride, gone in a flash. She slogged through the flooded street toward my porch, her designer sneakers, probably $200 a pair, ruined beyond saving, rain dripping from that perfect hair she always bragged about. I didn't budge an inch, just watched her climb my steps, panting like she'd run a marathon, hands gripping the railing. Jake, she gasped, breathless, I need your truck. I let those words hang there. Oh, how sweet they sounded, savoring every second of her squirming. Oh, my truck, I said, tilting my head like I was puzzled. You mean the one you had towed? Her jaw clenched so tight, I thought her teeth might crack, frustration pouring off her in waves. Yes, that one. Please. My basement is flooding. I took my sweet time, stretching my arms with a big, dramatic yawn, sighing like I was mulling over the meaning of life. Hate to break it to you, Karen, but I don't have a truck anymore, remember? She groaned, dragging a hand through her sopping hair. Oh, the drama. Jake, come on. Just another thunderclap shook the house boom, and she flinched hard. Water was halfway up her driveway now, creeping closer to her front door like a thief in the night. She sucked in a shaky breath, forcing herself to meet my gaze. I'll make it right, she said, her voice dropping low, almost a whisper. I leaned in, just a little, my voice a quiet growl. Oh, you're damn right, you'll make it right, but not just with me. Her brow furrowed, confusion flickering in her eyes. What do you mean? I mean, if you want my help, we're fixing more than your stupid basement. You're going to apologize publicly for towing my truck. You're going to ditch those ridiculous HOA rules that screw over working folks like me. And, I paused, letting the big one land heavy. You're going to resign as HOA president. Her eyes popped wide, shock city. What? No way, that's ridiculous. I shrugged, casual as can be. Then, I guess you better start swimming, Karen. Lightning flashed again, crack. And right there, in that electric split second, I saw it. The exact moment she knew she was toast. Her house? Done for without those sandbags. And without my truck? She was sunk. Her shoulders slumped, defeat washing over her like the rain. Fine, she whispered, barely audible. I cupped my ear, smirking. What was that? She swallowed hard, pride choking her. Fine, I'll do it. I grinned wide victory. Good choice. I snatched my keys, adrenaline pumping. This storm was about to be the worst nightmare Karen Dorsey ever had. And for me, oh, It was just the beginning of the fun. The drive to grab those sandbags was slow as molasses and tense as hell. Rain slammed the windshield, wham, 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 turning the roads into shimmering, treacherous pools. The wipers fought a losing battle, slapping back and forth in this eerie, hypnotic rhythm that matched the silence between us. Karen sat ramrod straight in the passenger seat, arms crossed so tight she might have snapped in two, her jaw locked like she was biting back a scream. Every few seconds, she'd shift nervous little twitches like she wanted to unload on me but kept swallowing it down. I could feel her glare burning into the side of my face, a mix of irritation, resentment, and, oh, just a tiny flicker humiliation. Me? I was loving every single second of this sweet, sweet payback. How's it feel, Karen, to need the guy you screwed over? I took my sweet time driving that truck. Oh, man. Making sure to hit every pothole in the road with just enough force bam to send Karen jolting in her seat like a rag doll. Did she think I'd make this easy for her? No way. I even started humming a little tune to myself, da-da, tapping my fingers on the steering wheel. Like this was just a chill Sunday cruise, not a desperate rescue mission for the woman who'd turned my life into a living nightmare. The irony? Oh, it was so delicious I could taste it. The supply yard where they stashed those emergency sandbags was usually a quick 15-minute jaunt, but with this storm raging like a beast unleashed, it stretched closer to 30 agonizing minutes. The roads were slick as ice. Visibility was a joke. Could I even see 10 feet ahead? And every so often, I had to ease off the gas to let some poor sap in a sedan wrestle their way through the rising water. How do you even survive a night like this without a truck, huh? I couldn't help but wonder how long did Karen's precious house have left before her basement turned into an indoor swimming pool. I pictured it in my head. Oh yeah, her fancy furniture bobbing around like lost buoys. Those overpriced rugs she bragged about at every HOA meeting sopping wet, the walls buckling and warping from all that relentless moisture. Poetic justice, right? Absolutely beautiful. As we rolled into the supply yard, a crew of workers in soggy rain gear was already hustling, scrambling like ants to load sandbags onto waiting trucks. Karen? She didn't waste a second, bam. She flung herself out of the cab before I even shifted into park, charging at the nearest worker, arms flailing like a lunatic. Did she really think she could boss them around in this chaos? The guy barely flicked his eyes her way, too swamped with a half-dozen other folks yelling for supplies. Me? I sauntered out slow and easy, stretching my arms high, rolling my shoulders like I had all the time in the world. Why rush for her, right? Karen whipped around, her eyes blazing like twin fireballs. Hurry up, she snapped, voice sharp enough to cut glass. We don't have time for this. I flashed her a big, lazy grin. Oh, this was too good. Relax, Karen. The flood's not going anywhere unlike my truck, huh? She let out this frustrated growl grr and spun back to the worker, practically vibrating with panic. I need sandbags, as many as you can load now. The guy finally glanced up, waving his clipboard like it was a royal decree. Name. And vehicle type, he grunted. Karen froze, just for a heartbeat, then spat out through gritted teeth. Oh, the pain in her voice. It's his truck. The worker turned to me, eyebrow raised. I rocked back on my heels, milking the moment should I make her sweat a little more, then drawled, Jake Reynolds, .F250. He scribbled it down, muttering, all right, we'll load you up in a minute. Karen let out a shaky breath relief at last and pivoted to me, hands slamming onto her hips. Now, was that so hard? She huffed. I smirked, leaning in just a touch. No, but watching you choke out that you need me, worth every second of this trip. She groaned, rubbing her temples like I was the world's worst headache, and I just stood there soaking it in. A few minutes later, the workers started heaving those heavy sandbags into my truck bed. Thud, 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 rain splashing off them like tiny explosions. I leaned against the side, arms crossed, letting it all sink in. This was why I had a truck. For moments exactly like this. And Karen, with all her high and mighty HOA nonsense, had snatched it away, only to come crawling back hours later, begging for it. How's that taste, Karen? Bitter, I bet. The second they finished loading bomb, Karen was on me like a drill sergeant, practically shoving me toward the driver's seat. Let's go, she barked. We're wasting time. Did she think I'd hop to it like her little servant? Nope. Her once pristine white fence was a pitiful sight, barely standing, one side leaning over like it had just given up on life altogether. The perfectly manicured lawn she'd fussed over for years, now a soggy, miserable swamp, can you believe it? With patches of grass ripped up by the ruthless rushing water. But oh, the real disaster. It was inside that house. I stood at the edge of her driveway, sipping my steaming morning coffee. That first sip always wakes me up, watching as Karen slogged around in knee-high rubber boots, barking orders at a crew of workers hauling out drenched furniture like it was a losing battle. Her basement had been swallowed whole by the flood 4 feet of water, folks before it finally started to drain. Everything down there totaled. Those expensive rugs she'd bragged about, the custom-built shelves she'd had installed just to show off, and oh, the tragedy. Her prized wine collection, the envy of her snooty book club, all ruined beyond saving. She looked wiped out, like she hadn't slept a wink, poor Karen. How's that high horse treating you now? She caught sight of me and let out this long, weary sigh, before trudging over, arms crossed tight like a shield. I could see it in her eyes. She was dreading this showdown. Did she really think I'd let our deal slip away now that the storm had passed? Fat chance! Good morning, Karen, I chirped, taking another slow sip of my coffee. So good. How's the cleanup going? She shot me a glare that could have melted steel, yikes, and muttered, It's a disaster. Everything's ruined. Insurance is giving me hell, apparently. They don't cover poor drainage maintenance. I put on my best fake sympathetic face. Tough break. That's rough. Almost like someone should have prepped better for a storm, huh? Her nostrils flared. She was mad. But she clamped down hard, forcing herself to stay cool. I know what you're here for, she hissed through gritted teeth. I raised an eyebrow, playing dumb. Oh, and what's that? She sucked in a deep breath, then let it out slow, like she was trying to blow away every last shred of her pride. Good luck with that. The HOA meeting's at noon, she said, voice tight. I'll make my resignation official there. I grinned wide. Yes. Now that's what I like to hear. She gave me this tight-lipped smile, more like a grimace. Really, and I couldn't resist pushing further. And the apology? I asked, relishing the way she flinched. Gotcha. She turned toward her porch, where a handful of nosy neighbors were milling around, gawking at the workers. She took another big breath. Here we go. Straightened her shoulders like a soldier, marched up the steps, and clapped her hands loud whack to grab their attention. I'd like to say something, she declared, her voice wobbling just a bit. Last night, my house took a brutal hit from the flood, and I couldn't have minimized the damage without Jake Reynolds. A few neighbors swapped shocked looks. Wait, what? Karen admitting she needed help. Historic. I screwed up, she went on, clearing her throat like it hurt to admit. I had his truck towed for a dumb reason, and because of that, I nearly lost my home. It was unfair, and I own it. Jake, I'm sorry. All eyes swung to me, spotlights on, and I let the moment hang, soaking in the sweet, heavy weight of it. Finally, I nodded, cool and calm, apology accepted. A couple neighbors actually clapped, clap, and Karen? She looked like she wanted the ground to open up and swallow her whole. Oh, the humiliation. By noon, the HOA meeting was buzzing, packed to the gills. Word had spread like wildfire about last night, and everyone was itching to witness the Queen's fall. Karen sat up front, stiff as a board, barely glancing at anyone nervous much. The second the meeting kicked off, she didn't waste a beat. As of today, I'm resigning as HOA president, she said, voice flat as a pancake. Effective immediately. A hush fell, then bam! Murmurs of shock rippled through, followed by excited whispers. It was happening. Her reign of terror was toast. Someone in the back muttered, "Finally, yes!" And another let out this big, relieved sigh, woo. Karen's eye twitched, ouch, but she held it together. I also propose we rethink the HOA's vehicle rules, she pushed on. Especially that nonsense about pickup trucks being an eyesore. It's gotta go. More murmurs, agreement this time. And someone even nodded progress. I crossed my arms, watching her whole perfect little empire crumble. How's it feel, Karen? The board members traded looks, what now? Until one of them, Greg, piped up. Let's vote on it. Fastest vote in HOA history, bam. The truck rule was history. And just like that, all Karen's years of molding this neighborhood into her suburban dreamland? Undone. By the end, she looked like a popped balloon, deflated and done. She hung back near the exit, dodging everyone's eyes. As I strolled by, she muttered under her breath, "Hope you enjoy your victory." I stopped, grinning at her. "Oh, I will count on it." She rolled her eyes, classic Karen, and slipped away into the crowd. Over the next few weeks, life crept back to normal. Well, almost. Karen turned into a ghost around here. No chit-chat, no waves, and hallelujah, no more of those absurd violation notices she used to slap on every doorstep. A month later, a moving truck rumbled up to her house. Big news. Word spread fast. Karen was bailing. I was out washing my truck scrub when she trudged down the driveway, eyeing the movers loading her boxes. She spotted me and froze, like she was debating whether to face me. Finally, she sighed, "Here she comes," and shuffled over. "Well," she said, shifting awkwardly, "I'm moving." I wiped my hands on a rag nice and slow and nodded. "Yeah, I heard." "Where to?" "A condo downtown," she said, folding her arms tight. "No HOA." I smirked. "Oh, the irony. Funny how that works, huh?" She let out a soft, dry laugh, almost human. "Yeah, I guess it is." She flicked her eyes to my truck, then back to me, thinking hard. "You know, you were right about a lot," she admitted. I raised an eyebrow. "Say what? You feeling okay, Karen?" She rolled her eyes. "There it is. Don't push it." I chuckled, couldn't help it. "Well, good luck, I guess." She nodded, paused like she had more to say. "Spill it." "Karen!" Then just gave a tiny wave and headed back inside. A week later, a new family rolled in, a young couple, baby on the way. Cute, right? But the real kicker? The husband was a contractor, yes. And he brought 3 trucks. The first time I saw him pull up in that massive work rig vroom, I laughed out loud. Oh, perfection. Leaning against my truck, watching him unload tools, clank, clank. I couldn't stop grinning. Karma had nailed it spot on. Karen had spent years trying to sculpt this place into her personal paradise. White fences, no ugly trucks, and in the end, she's the one who got booted. I climbed into my truck, turned the key, rumble, and felt that engine roar to life. Karma's got 4-wheel drive, baby, and it never lets you down.